Hey guys, Chris from onechurch.tv here, and as promised, we are going to spend some time this week looking at different types of sharks. So if you missed this past week, our series here at onechurch.tv, we're in a shark series, and you can follow along on social media through hashtag Shark Series, no spaces. Last week we talked about the whole idea of not being a chum bag. A chum bag. Are you a chum bag? Now, we talked last week on this past Sunday that what a chum bag is an oily, fishy parts that are ground up and put in a bag, and they're hung out in the waters of the ocean, and it creates this smelly, nasty slick that attracts sharks. And when the sharks are attracted to the chum bag, they come and they latch on and they bite on. And honestly, what we talked about this past Sunday is that so many of us, if we're not careful, we're chum bags. We're actually attracting sharks in our life. We are attracting the wrong types of people. So as we talked about this past week, just want to share a couple of scriptures, and we're going to look at one type of shark today. We looked at Proverbs 13:20. Proverbs 13:20 simply says, "He who walks with the wise will grow wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm." This is kind of our memory verse through the entire shark series, teaching series at onechurch.tv. The whole idea is if you swim with wise people, you will become wise. But if you hang out with sharks, you're going to suffer some harm. You're going to have some bites taken out of your life and out of your heart, out of your emotions, even sometimes out of you physically. So, who are you swimming with? We talked about, if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future, because your friends will determine the direction and the quality of your life. Here's another one. Proverbs 12:26 says this: "The righteous choose their friends carefully." Look at that. The carefully. They don't willy-nilly just choose friends or add friends or do that. They choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked will lead them astray. Are you the type of person that chooses your friends carefully? Are you the type of person that says, you know what, before I befriend them, I want to kind of do some Facebook stalking. I want to do some investigation because I want to know how they're living their life. Because do not be misled. How they live their life, if you continually and consistently hang out with them, you will become like them. If you consistently hang out with people who are always, the relationships are in the toilet, and you see a person looking at pornography, or a spouse is actually committing adultery, and those are the people you hang out with, don't be surprised if your marriage fails. Don't be surprised if all the people you hang out with are struggling with their finances and struggling with bankruptcy, that eventually you're going to be struggling with your finances and you may be declaring bankruptcy as well. You got to be careful. Friends will determine the direction and the quality of your life, because friendships matter. 1 Corinthians 15:33, Paul wrote this, that bad company corrupts good character. Bad company corrupts good character. You know, I almost said good company corrupts bad character, but I don't think the inverse is true, is it? I mean, so many times you can be a really good person, but if all the people you're hanging out with are sharks, eventually you're going to get a bite taken out of you. Don't be a chum bag, because if you hang out with the bait fish, you will attract sharks. Now, let's look at different types of sharks. I promised you guys this on Sunday morning that we were going to do this, and the first one I want to talk about is the bull shark. As I mentioned on Sunday, the bull shark, more people are attacked by bull sharks than any other type of sharks. And the reason why is bull sharks can actually swim 100 miles upstream in rivers to be able to look for food. So bull sharks are very, very dangerous. In fact, I wasn't able to show this on Sunday just because of a little bit of the graphic content.
While filming for Shark Week, scientist Eric Ritter was the unlucky victim of a shocking incident in the Bahamas in 2002. He and the British television personality Nigel Marven were standing amongst a school of bull sharks, trying to prove that their reputation for aggression was not true, and that the animals rarely attack humans. Unfortunately, their demonstration was to be cut short, as one of the sharks took a massive bite out of one of Ritter's legs. The film team had baited the water beforehand, and being in the same water as a group of large feeding sharks is not always the most intelligent of ideas. The shark in question had been chasing a small fish, which chose the water between his legs as a good hiding place. Due to the low visibility, instead of biting at the fish, it sank its teeth into Ritter's calf. He sustained massive injuries, with a large chunk of flesh on his leg completely torn off, and would have died of blood loss had he not been given immediate medical attention. As the chief scientist of the global shark attack file, Ritter is known for his unorthodox methods. He practices yoga, believing that being able to decrease his heart rate while in the water will convince the sharks that he's a fellow predator, not food. He believes the incident to be mostly an accident, but others are not so sure. Sharks are often on the lookout for light-colored food, so most people who intend to spend time around them wear dark wetsuits. Ritter clearly did not care for these precautions. He would often wade into the water wearing nothing but a pair of shorts, leaving his legs completely bare, resulting in the sharks ramming into him on multiple separate occasions. Whatever the cause of the attack, the moral is pretty clear. Sharks are formidable predators that demand our respect, and entering their space without the proper care and safety measures is extremely risky, if not outright stupid.
You are never safe around bull sharks. And one of the things we talked about on Sunday mornings is bull sharks are hard-headed, they're temperamental, they're very opinionated, they're angry people. They have this whole idea that if you're either on my side or you're on the outside, they lose their tempers very quickly. Are you a bull shark? Are you a bull shark? This is what Proverbs 22:24 says. Don't befriend angry people. Did you hear that? Don't befriend angry people or associate with hot-tempered people, or you will learn to be like them and endanger your soul. You see, just you engaging in angry, hot-tempered people, you will become like an angry, hot-tempered person, because you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. That's what God's word says. And I know some bull sharks that always like to argue about everything. Let me read you a verse from Titus 3, and then I want to give you some illustrations of my own life. This is what Titus says. But don't have anything to do with stupid arguments about ancestors, and stay away from disagreements and quarrels about the law of Moses. And such arguments are useless and senseless. Have you ever met anybody that all they want to do is argue about God's word? All they want to do is argue and argue and argue. And I can tell you this personally. I have never ever seen one person change their mind and change their prejudices, change their opinions, and to become to know Jesus Christ through an argument. I just never have. And here's the reason why, is because most people, they have arguments with their heads, but the biggest problem they have with God is not with their head, it's with their heart. It's with their heart. So don't have anything to do with people like that. It goes back 20 years ago. This year, I was in Israel. And I actually went with Dallas Theological Seminary, my alma mater, and we went with another seminary who I won't name. And I remember being on top of Mount Arbel. And Mount Arbel is this beautiful mountain overlooking the Sea of Galilee. Now, the Sea of Galilee is up north in northern Israel, and of course in Galilee. I remember just looking over this huge lake where almost 90% of Jesus' ministry took place. And just being in awe. Just being so grateful that I was there. And these other seminary students got almost into a fist fight, because one person said this. They said, you know what? If Jesus was really human, probably stubbed his toe, right? Because I've stubbed my toe in the middle of the night, you stubbed your toe. And he says this, that if Jesus was really human, he probably stubbed his toe. And then another seminary almost hit him, because no, if Jesus stubbed his toe, then that means he was not really God, because he actually misjudged. And I'm like, really? Y'all are going to have this argument, this stupid theological argument, when we're in the presence of looking at some amazing scenery of where Jesus' ministry actually happened. You see, here's the thing. You can either make a difference or you can make a point sometimes. And people who are bull sharks, if all they want to do is argue, they love making a point. They love making a point. You actually have probably a lot of friends on social media who love making points. They will put zingers all the time. They'll type, zingers, but they're not making a difference. You see, bull sharks, they want to come and they want to take a bite out of you, and then they want to leave quickly. They like arguing. They like getting angry. And that is not the way of God. Don't hang out with bull sharks, because if you do, you are a chumbag and you're attracting all the wrong types of sharks. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at the lemon shark. And as we talked about on Sunday, lemon sharks, people who are lemon sharks are awful. They're sour. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks.